Good morning, Grizz Nation. Hi, everybody. Sorry, I don't know why I sing that. Good morning, y'all. Welcome to everyone's favorite daily Grizzly show, The Daily Grind. I am your host, Luke, and I'm joined again by my buddy Daniel Greer of the Grizz 901 live postgame show. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm glad to be back. The Grizzlies won last night. We said it was a winning Wednesday.
Yeah, winning Wednesday, baby.
We're gonna keep that train rolling. But man, last night, you want to talk about David Roddy coming out of the chute looking like a true buffalo, a true bull. Was he a bull or buffalo?
But bison? Wait,
Bison?
no. Wait, are they the same thing?
Colorado State, right?
Yeah.
Rams. He looked like a real ram coming out of there. You look great. I was excited about the game in general, man. It was a game that we haven't seen all year, and I was excited about that. But talk about David Roddy, and you talk about the Block Panther. The Block Panther is back. It can't feel good to get blocked. But the Jazz, you know what they did? They were true professionals last night, and that really was what impressed me the most because no matter how far they got down, no matter how much they were just didn't seem like they were in sync, they didn't quit. And that's the most important thing.
Yeah. Yeah. When you're right, you're right. And, you know, even they made the game. I mean, like they stayed in it last night. And granted, they played like their entire damn roster. And we talked about it yesterday, like what this rotation was going to look like if it was going to stay short. And looked like it did, man. Like if it looks like TJ's finally just kind of figured out what he's going to do until Ja comes back, right?
Yeah, come on, man. They won the game. Okay, let's just be honest. They won the game. I'm not saying like anything was different. They hit open shots and they realistically won. Winning cures so much. It just does.
Yeah. Was there anything specifically that you thought we did that you didn't talk about last night, let's say on the show, like anything that jumped out to you specifically, good or bad, from last night?
Yeah, I think it was the Derrick Rose of it all because you're starting a true point guard, right? And that's what we talked about last night on the show was you're starting a true point guard, starting a vet. Like he knows that when he gets the ball, he needs to get up and create tempo, for the offense. Because what that does is when you get the ball and you create the tempo, you're actually getting up the floor a lot faster, which allows these guys to get easy, shots. Obviously, they won the fast break battle. I think it was 20-0 at one point during the game. But realistically, you're getting easier shots for your guys. You're getting them in a rhythm. And the rhythm, because no fouls as well, but getting them in that rhythm was so important for Derrick Rose. And I think that's really what the change was because even when Jacob Gilliard plays, he's fine. He's a good, point guard, whatever. But he doesn't have the vet leadership to say, hey, I'm just going to get the ball and go, and I'm going to create. And if I need to create at the rim, I can. That's what Derrick Rose did.
Yeah, man. And like what, 63.6% from the field?
Yeah.
Didn't make a three, but that's the most efficient I feel like he's been from the field this season.
Yeah. Some of those plays,
man,
old school, vintage.
Yes. Man, it's if we can get that Derrick Rose for the rest of the season, like 2/3 the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Well, like that's going to be awesome for these guys.
Well, the great thing about him is you know what you're going to get. He's going to give you that almost each and every night. The only thing is you got to watch his minutes. I think last night he played a whopping 27 minutes. I believe that's the most minutes he's played on the season. So you have to be careful of that. You're going to, another thing is the back-to-back that's coming up with Dallas and Phoenix. He's going to probably set one of those games, I'd imagine, especially, being the back-to-back. And they just got to win. I think they go ahead and set him one of those games. So just pay attention to that.
Which one, if you were a betting man, which you are, which one would you sit him for? Because I'm with you. It's like he won't play. He won't play back-to-back. He just won't do it.
Phoenix.
Yeah, I think Phoenix is the one that we don't stand a chance against them. I don't think.
We talked about that last night. Nate brought it up. You sit Bane, you sit Jaren, you sit Rose in Phoenix because that gives you 4 days off for your next game. That's a big time off to get some rest Bane doesn't look the same. His shot, it looks flat. It might be needs a little bit of a break. But what I would do is I would go all out for Dallas. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. Nothing, lost, nothing gained. I would go ahead and sit most of the guys and allow some of these guys who maybe can show you something. And with extra minutes, that's what I would do.
Well, yeah, and especially since you have a couple of these guys only on 10 days, like why not just give them extra minutes if we have them?
Yeah.
Zaire kept playing good again, man.
Yeah.
And it wasn't all fourth quarter garbage time either. He was playing good. He had a good game.
Well, the 8 rebounds impressed me the most. 3 of 3 from deep is awesome. You want that. But the fact that you're getting 8 rebounds from a guy who has the length to get the rebounds, it's huge. It's huge.
Well, that's what he was rebounding like that. I mean, you could just basically hit the over on rebounds for Zaire at the start of the season every single game. I don't know why that he moved away from that. Dude, Vince Williams also had 8 rebounds.
Yep. Both those guys. You're talking about 16 rebounds from 2 bench guys who normally don't even play set minutes. They don't play more than 20 minutes on a consistent basis.
Man, I've been loving. I mean, someone must have gave him shit after not playing him after the Boston game, but Vince has played every single game since they lost that Boston game, or since the game after the Boston game. And man, I think he's so good. I think that he's got the chance to be the best out of all these wings that we drafted last year. I think he could be better than Roddy, could be better than Laravia. I is better than Laravia, excuse me. I just think that if he can get the minutes, that dude is. I think we should convert, or at least think about converting his 2-way at the end of the year. But I don't know. We're going to get into that in the next segment. Trying to figure out this roster is a lot harder than it's harder than I realized when I sat down and tried to do this shit yesterday. We're gonna take. Well, do you have any thoughts on the game last night before we take a quick break?
I think that you're seeing the old school Grizzlies. That's what you saw last night, and I think that a lot of it comes from the vet leadership of Derrick Rose. I just think the energy and the effort was there. I think they're learning of themselves that, hey, this season sucks. It sucks, and it sucks to lose. But you can't get down. You can't quit. You just can't. You have to be a true professional in this moment of the season. Just like Bismack Biyombo, if you didn't hear those words, what he spoke, somebody even said that he played on the Charlotte Bobcats. I'm telling you, it can be worse. And a lot of these fans have never seen their Grizzlies lose. And so I think it kind of comes to a lot of just kind of growing up a little bit, but also, you kind of have to look through. See the forest? You got to look through the trees to see the forest. Is that what it is? What's the analogy?
I have no idea. I thought you were saying a Star Wars thing, and I was like, I don't think that's from Star Wars, Daniel. I don't know.
It's one. Listen, I'm old, so it's one of those things. But honestly, I think they're gonna have to look at themselves in the mirror, and I think they did. And I think that Marcus Smart yelling was a little bit of what they needed. And sometimes you need a kick in the butt. Even when you're an adult, you need a kick in the butt sometimes. And people can relate with that with just your normal job. Sometimes you just get complacent. Sometimes you get down in the day. Good kick in the butt never goes bad.
Yeah, that's true. I will say too, I want to pat myself on the back.
Roddy?
Called Roddy, baby, dude. He started making after the first 2 shots, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, this was meant to be a joke pick at first, and then he just started balling out, man. It was awesome.
Yeah, he was huge. I should have bet on him instead of Keontae George, who flopped. He really did not play good. I was even found myself rooting for him to do good for you. I was frustrated. I was like, come on, man, just get another assist. I know Daniel bet on it. He got 2. Thankfully, we revived ourselves with a live bet when it was 1.5. Sheesh. But it was tight. It was tight.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we will try to trim this roster down a little bit.
I got my notes.
I am highly upset, man.
Oh, man.
ESPN, you dastardly dogs you. Last week had us feeling good. They picked the Grizzlies to be first in the West with about 48.5 wins. And what a difference a few days makes.
What a difference.
You put out your list of the top 100 players in the NBA. Desmond Bain jumps in at 61. Jaren Jackson Jr. comes in at number 31. Jaren's top 25 to me, but if you, all right, whatever. I think that's a little slight to Jaren. Desmond Bain's is disgusting, in my opinion. But then we get Ja Morant, All-NBA player, two-time All-Star, one of the most dynamic offensively players in the NBA, Ja Morant. That guy was number 35 on their list, Kenny Stubblefield. The same people that said the Grizzlies will be the first team in the West. They're going to get that done with just some regular dudes.
Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Just curious, you kind of talked about the transfers and things like that. How has that changed your mindset from a roster management standpoint? Like, incredible recruiter. All the classes, I think we had 2 back-to-back and 21 and 22 top classes. How does that change with the transfer portal? Do you start focusing more on upperclassmen? Do you kind of get away from the younger freshmen? How does that work?
Yeah, so I still believe in our coaching staff and the way we do things and developing guys. And that I will never get away from that philosophy. We're still going to recruit a high school class. Now, there's a lot of colleges out there that say, screw this. We're pushing all the chips in on this roster, win right now, and we'll figure it out. Sure. And if it doesn't, right, it implodes and bad things happen. But I think you still have to bring in true freshmen and develop them and see what they can become. And that I'll never waver from that. But the portal certainly changed things.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
All right, we are back at the Daily Grind. I'm Luke. Got Daniel with me today. All right, brother. So we have 23 dudes on the roster right now. Is that right? 23? Is that how many you came up with?
No. I know you're counting. So you're counting the 15
I mean, like how many
guys.
contracts? I'm just counting the contracts. Like
So you have your 15 guys, right, that are on the
Yeah.
contract. And then you
Yes.
have your 2 guys due to the injuries.
Yes,
Okay.
the 10, the hardship contracts.
Yeah, that's 17. And then you have then the 3 guys, the 2-ways. That's 20. I don't know where you're getting the other 3, but
Where am I getting you?
maybe Bismack Biyombo, you add another one because he's coming in for the injury designation. So you're talking about
that's
another
right.
21. I think you're missing out on, I don't know who you're thinking about. I know they're still paying Josh Christopher. I do know that. And they're still paying Isaiah Todd and Kenny Chandler. So maybe that's where you're getting the numbers from.
Probably. Or I might have just no, because Gigi, are you counting 3 2-ways?
Yeah. So 15 plus the 2-ways is 18.
18.
And then your
plus
3
two
guys
hardship.
your 2 10 days, that's 20. Bismack, 4 Ja, 1 and 1. Like that's 21. Maybe you didn't use your fingers or your toes. I'm not sure, but either way.
I mean, dude, I told you if I have to go any higher than 20, I just get a little confused. That's why I'm very grateful there's only 15 people normally on the roster. They got to keep this shit locked down.
Yeah.
All right. So we were talking about it yesterday. We are going to have to let go of some guys once Ja comes back, period. Like that's bare minimum. That's what's going to happen. Yes.
Yep.
Who are you keeping for sure? 100% who's staying on the roster?
I would say your main guys. Everybody knows
your main
the
guys,
right?
Yeah.
I think that what would happen is instead of just going through like, hey, we would keep all these guys. I think what you do is there has to be a consolidation trade somewhere if you want to do something with Bismack Biyombo. I think that's what has to happen. Now, you can always trade. Let's say we do trade Jake LaRavia, for example. And you trade him because he's a piece that somebody might want to take a flyer on for the rest of this year. Let's just say Detroit, for example. And Detroit has the cap space to take on, what is he getting paid?
From $4 million, I think. Or 3.6 million.
Yep.
3.6.
Yep. So Jake LaRavia is getting paid, 3-ish, whatever. You can go ahead and send him there if for some reason they do have the cap space. and then maybe they send you a second round pick, a future second round pick. What that does is instead of having to waive him, you get the potential of getting a second round pick. I think that's important. And then what you can do is you convert Bismack Biyombo to a true contract, because right now he's only guaranteed $1 million. He's on a $5 million contract, and so realistically, you have the space for that. You could make a different kind of a consolidation trade potentially, but you have to figure out a way to keep Bismack Biyombo on this team. You have to, and unfortunately, somebody's going to be the bearer of bad news. But one guy I would also look at is where is it? Maybe he's on this sheet. The cheaper sheet. I have the cheaper sheet. Kenny Lofton Jr. just signed that contract, as everybody knows, right? He's paid 1.7 this year.
Yes.
Next year, zero is guaranteed.
Damn, really?
I didn't know that either. And then so the next year, the 25-26 is a club option. And so I would imagine there's a date in there. As long as you release him by that set date, you do have him under contract. But if you release him by that set date, which is probably going to be mid of the summer, could be around training camp. I haven't looked at that exactly. You do have that. You do have him under contract for another 3 years if you wanted him. So he's a contract that if they say, hey, it's just not working, like we can send him to the G League. He's probably not going to be happy. Let's go ahead and just wash our hands. It's $1.7 million this year, and that's it.
And so I think you're absolutely right about, like, if there's one person who needs to stay, it's Biz. Biz is staying. We can't afford like, if we don't keep him, we should fire Kleiman immediately. Legitimately, like there's just, I mean, I don't mean to be like that's irrational, but like it's just so obvious what he's done for us that we need that position. It's just obvious he's staying. I think today is it the end of June next year for Kenneth Lofton. Maybe that's crazy that he is not guaranteed any money next year. That changes things. So
that's what you're looking at, these contracts. And I know he got signed that contract. A lot of people were like, he deserved it, which he did. Don't get me wrong. Like he has played well. He has been a good asset. We're talking about $2 million a year. That's nothing, in the scheme of NBA contracts. And so, yes, it is a good contract. Unfortunately, there's nothing guaranteed starting next season. And so if you do have to wash your hands, at least you're getting rid of it and it's not a future issue. I do think that they can find somewhere, some team that would take on a contract or two for some picks. I think second round picks are, monopoly money at this point. And so I do think that that's a potential you could do.
Okay. So, and you don't think the move, at least in the move in this little bit, the interim here is, you think it's trading for picks? That's what you would do. You would send these cheap guys out for a second rounder or something.
Yeah, you do. You obviously do have your exceptions that you can use, but like,
so we'll talk about them in the next segment. Like,
who's wanting to come off? Yeah, who's wanting to come off of people this early in the season?
Yeah,
like that's the issue I look at is like, who at this point? Let's just say, for example, I know we're going to talk about that later, but like, let's say I don't know, DFS, Dorian Finney-Smith, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say that the Brooklyn, they want to get rid of him. Why at this part of the season would you want to get rid of somebody that's any good? That's not an option. Like, you have so much longer to get a little bit more. Now, let's say they do covet a Jake LaRavia. That is an option that you could do, is you could actually send somebody out like a Jake LaRavia who has potential. I know people think that he sucks, but the reason that right now what he's doing down in the G League and when he has played, he's looked really well. That's how you get somebody's, I guess, what they're worth up a little bit is you send them to the G League, let them dominate. Let Kenny Lofton Jr. dominate. Let Jake LaRavia dominate. The trade value can be helped that way because then you say, hey, there's something there than just, hey, the guy sucks when he plays on the NBA team.
Yeah. Now, what's the I'm assuming there wouldn't be a penalty or anything. Like, what if they were to, like we talked yesterday, cut Gilliard and convert someone else to a two-way, like move Junior back down to a two-way? Would that be something they could do?
So, yeah. So he's on an NBA contract. And so if you do release him, he does become available to everybody. He would then have to clear waivers. And the waiver system, I believe that I think you can re-pick him up after he clears waivers, I
After he
believe.
clears it. Yeah.
But why? I would imagine somebody picks him up and converts him to a two-way because that's what you're going to do anyway.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
converting him to a two-way probably isn't an option.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Nobody that's on an NBA roster currently under contract is going to be converted to a two-way.
Yeah. I mean, if they're stupid if they agree to. I mean, maybe not stupid, but yeah, it just doesn't make sense. It makes sense for the team, but not for the player. That's kind of dumb.
Also,
All
so I want to talk about real quick is the 10 days. So Jalen Noel has
Yes.
played really well. They can sign him to another 10-day. I wouldn't imagine Shaquille Harrison gets signed to another 10-day. I don't know the exact ins and outs of the 10-day rule, but I do know that they will have it available again because they could also convert these guys to a contract. But unfortunately, there's no roster spot to do that. And so you can't just convert them to a contract. They have to stay on a 10-day. I would think Jalen Noel gets it. I would imagine they bring in somebody else to take a look at, but they're going to get guys back healthy very, very soon. Like Marcus Smart is out of the boot already. Xavier Tillman has to be coming back soon. The new follower to be Luke Kennard is going to have to be coming back, I would say, in the next week or two. Everything is like you're talking about the next 3 weeks. The Grizzlies could be healthy and then getting a Ja Morant back. Like those 10 days might not matter as much. Like all of that doesn't matter as much as it does right now. But that 10-day is important. I think they're going to re-sign Jalen Noel as soon as his 10 days are up.
And to be clear, like they can just keep. How many can they just keep signing guys to 10 days?
They can keep signing other guys. I don't know how many times they can re-sign the same person to a 10-day.
But that's a contract you can use as long as you want, right? Like throughout the season.
It's just like an imaginary open roster spot.
Cool. Yeah. And you can do a lot worse than Jalen Noel on that. Like he's doing fine. It's a 10-day contract. You're not trying to reinvent the wheel there. We're going to take another break, and when we come back, we're going to just kind of finalize the roster. I'm going to run a couple options by you about sending out and bringing in, like just discussing some of the teams you mentioned earlier.
Cool.
Seth Hennigan just still. He
doesn't look himself.
He just doesn't, in the big moments, he's not making the plays that have to be made. If you look at the raw stats, they're not terrible, but the 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
And he fumbled twice. They didn't lose those fumbles, but 2 fumbles and 2 interceptions, one of them coming at a terrible time on a 4th down late in the game when Memphis really needed to put points on the board. But I just don't think Seth is playing well enough to elevate this team.
Right.
I think he's playing well enough for Memphis to be fine, but as far as for them to do something special and to elevate this team, he's just not playing like that.
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Kenny, there are certain guys in the NBA that are enigmatic players. They're going to be appealing to a large fan base. But when you have guys like that, who like Ja Morant, who have off-court issues he's had, Kyrie Irving has had the things he's had, the NBA doesn't particularly like the fact that those guys are larger than life. If I'm NBA, if I'm ESPN, who of course are working together on all this stuff, I'm going to start telling you who you need to like. And it's going to be a different type of guy to kind of play off of the guys that are going to be there anyway. Let me put these squeaky clean image guys that we want to put in front of you up there as well to kind of counteract some of the stuff we get with the guys that we don't have any control out of. So let me put the Tyrese Halliburtons in front of you. Let me put the Shai Gilgeous-Alexanders in front of you, the Josh Giddeys. Let me force these guys in front of you, not particularly on national television games, but let me just kind of create these little sub agendas with these guys to kind of make them those second tier stars that we're gonna like put out in front as well. Like they're doing this on purpose, man. Like if anybody can't see this, like come on, man. Do not sit there and tell me that you really think that Tyrese Halliburton is a top 20 player in the NBA.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the Daily Grind. Quick, shameless self-promotion time. Become a Bluff City Media Insider, y'all. It's $5 a month. You get access to a bunch of cool shit, free early merch. Our Discord's awesome. Daniel's on there all the time offering a bunch of betting advice, betting help, and he's really damn good at it, win you some money. You also get access to all the shows. You know, we've got Anthony Sane's show. That's Wednesdays and Fridays at noon. Got Bluff City Bets. We've got Tigers Untapped. And, of course, we got the Grizz 901 Live postgame show with this guy, Daniel, after every postgame. You know, and that show, it's one of my favorite shows. I love what you guys get on there. I like that it's late on West Coast games. I like people getting weird in the comments. It's a lot of fun. And that's all for $5 a month, y'all. You know, you can just, it's like a snooze alarm, just $5, just have it come out. It's super easy. Helps us out, helps us keep the site up and going. So yeah. And if you don't do that, you know, just subscribe to our YouTube channel. That helps us too. You know, if you don't have the $5, it's free. Yeah. All right. So we'll get back to this.
Real quick. Let's get to Mark's. And I was just looking for this. I finally found it. And so Mark put on here that you can only have 2 consecutive, 10 days. And so, and after that, you have to make a decision if you're going to assign them to a real contract.
Gotcha.
And so that is the rule. And so you can sign Jalen Noel to another, a consecutive 10 days. But after those initial 20 days, you have to make a decision if you're going to sign him for the rest of the year.
That's a good rule. 20 days is enough time. You know, it's good. Yeah. All right. So we won't stay too long on this last segment, but so we know we're keeping Biz, and we mentioned Junior and we mentioned Jake as 2 guys we're possibly sending out. If you had to pick a third one, let's just pick a third one to have a pool of 3 guys. Who are the 3 guys that you would be most willing to part with for whatever reason?
Oh, I think if you had to give me a decision, it'd probably be Conchar, I would imagine.
Cool.
Just because he has the most guaranteed.
Cool. So. I just want to make sure we were picking from the same dudes. So let's have those 3 guys. What teams did you say, you said you had some teams in mind. What teams are you calling? What teams are you trying to see if you can get a second round pick? Or do you think a team like Detroit, do you think Detroit, that's a team that might be willing to do a bigger consolidation trade, I would think, because they suck right now. They're all over the place.
Yeah.
You know,
I think you have to look at what do they want? And a guy like, I don't know, if a guy like John Conchar, right? He has a bigger contract, which is 2.4 this year. And then it escalates up to 6 for the next 3 years. And so it does increase, which is big, but also he is more of a vet than other teams. Then some teams might actually want that compared to teams that just want to have a contract, and maybe they, I don't know what they want to do. If you send out 2 guys for 1 guy, they don't want that. They don't want that contract, but you're willing to send out 2 guys for that 1 contract. So because you're going to waive your guys anyway. And so you can consolidate that way. And so realistically, they don't even want that player either, but they're willing to maybe keep one of them, release another one. I don't know. There's weird ways to do it. But they can have the cap space. But what I'm looking at right now, the only team with cap space still is the Indiana Pacers, and they have 5.8, and that's it. So it's gonna be tough either way.
Yeah, well, and when does the salary cap go up? Is it next year?
Next
I know
year.
that a lot of this money is not going to matter then, but so, well, I guess who's at the top of your list? Who are you calling? You're climbing. You're Daniel Greer climbing, hyphenated.
Yes. So instead of going with a player,
give me a second round pick.
Well, let's go with team need. What does the team need? The team needs shooting, shot creation. That's what the team needs. So that's what I would go and look for. I think you can, at some point, we're talking about short-term, long-term. I think short-term, you try to see if you can open up a spot, grab a second-round pick, call it a day, right? Done.
Yeah.
If it happens to where this team figures out a way to get a piece that they actually like, that's like getting your cake and eating it too. So that's what you want, but you're not going to get it more than likely. And so what you're more than likely going to get is a second round pick, maybe some way that, hey, releasing a player benefits you somehow, some way. And if it is, just pull the trigger, release Kenny Lofton, move on, then that's fine too. If that's really because you're not playing. So if you're not playing him, then go ahead and get rid of him. because you don't want to keep paying him next year anyway. I don't know how big of a trade piece he is. I do think he's an asset to some teams. But then you look at long-term is, can we get a little bit more of a shot creation coming off the bench? You're not going to get a starter out on this market. You do have the trade exception that you can get. You do have assets. I think Jake LaRavia is still an asset for maybe not a big asset, but you still have him. You still have Zaire, who's an asset, who's playing a decent ball right now.
Yeah.
I think, guys, in a nutshell, some teams are willing to take a chance on him because it's always just like anything else. You think that you might be able to develop them differently than maybe the Grizzlies have. So who knows?
Everybody loves a reclamation project, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know, I like that answer. I mean,
what do you think they need? It's like, because they need it so much.
a Jordan Clarkson type feels rude, but like when Jordan Clarkson was coming off, like winning 6th man of the year every other season, doing like 19 points off the bench on average, that's like a shooter, a bench bucket. You know, that's what I think we could really, really use.
Listen, that makes sense because you're talking about, just like you have with Ja, is you have a shot creator. You have a guy who the offense can run through. I know Derrick Rose has shown the ability to be that in a sense of getting downhill and getting to the front of the rim, showing the tempo. And I think that's going to be crucial for regular season basketball. But you talk about a guy who you can bring in and just let cook. And if he's cooking, you just stay out of the way. And if he's not, so be it. Let these other guys take the shots. I think a bench bucket, as you termed it, I think is a great call. I think a Jordan Clarkson would be good. I think any guy who really can give you a quick 6 to 12 points, in a half. Like it doesn't even have to be, 20 points a game. I'm talking about 6 to 12 points and a half, get you a little bit of mojo. And I think it keeps the ball rolling downhill.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see.
Who that is, I don't know, but.
So somebody sneaky I'll throw out the name, is Lonnie Walker out of Brooklyn. I don't know what his contract is. I'll try to pull it up, but I do think that Lonnie Walker is a guy who has played well. I think he's a guy who you're not asking too much. And so I think he's a guy who is you can go get realistically. He's not going to move the needle. I'm going to pull up his contract right here. But looking at him just in general, so Lonnie Walker is getting a whopping 2.019. He's getting $2 million a year, right? And he's a free agent next year. He's a guy who's on a 1-year deal. I think he's somebody who you could go get. Maybe you throw in, a couple seconds with, I don't know, anybody. Kenny Lofton. They're close enough in money. You throw in Kenny Lofton, a couple second-round picks, and bring back a guy like, Lonnie Walker Jr. I think he's possible. I think it works. We'll see.
I mean, I call them the Brooklyn Wingstop. They've got enough wings up there. Surely they can spare one. God.
And that's the thing. They have to have expectations too, just like the Grizzlies. Like we have expectations that when Ja gets back, we have a decent chance to get to the play-in. And if you get to the play-in, you have a chance to be good.
Yes.
Brooklyn, unfortunately, I don't think they have what they need just yet to be competitive. I think they're still in the rebuilding phase. Why not get extra second-round picks that you can use for, whatever you need? You already have a guy like Cam Thomas who you want to develop as that guy who's the bench bucket. And so if it was me, I would say, hey, let's go ahead and strike while the iron's hot with Lonnie Walker. Go ahead and get off of him before he cools off, before we can't give him the minutes he needs to excel. And I think that you might be able to be good there. Everybody wants that guy, though. That's the issue.
Yeah.
Everybody wants him.
Everybody wants him, and people that have him don't typically let him walk.
True. But we'll see. I think it's exciting, though. I'm excited about what's upcoming because the Grizzlies have a chance to make some noise, and we're going to see some noise probably, we're talking about less than 20 days. So I think it's 20 days till Ja's back, right at it. He's back on the 19th. So it's the 30th. So 20 days, we're going to have Ja Morant back playing basketball.
Actual basketball.
It's going to be great. It's going to be cool.
Dude,
and we're going to win every Wednesday. Every Wednesday we're winning.
Man, if we win every Wednesday, I'm going to get Wednesdays are for winning tattooed right here in gangster lettering. Like, it's going to be sick. And on that image, we're going to let you go. Thanks for hanging with us today. Daily Grind. Daniel, thank you for joining me the past couple of days, brother. You've been been awesome talking with you. Let's keep
Yeah, man.
these good vibes rolling. Let's see if we can get another dub tomorrow. You working on anything right now? Just you want to plug anything? Plug.
Yeah, so last night we had Lauren Gunn.
Yeah.
She's a huge person in the Mavs media, and so she was awesome last night. We had her about midway through the show, so I think it was about 25-minute mark, and so she came on. So tune in that. But we have every post-game show is going to be fun. We do have some more people, some more guests that are going to be coming on at some point. So we have 2 games, Friday, Saturday. I won't be on both. I'll get probably divorced, so I'll be on just one. But join us after the game. That's so much fun to me. Like, at the comments, we've had a few comments here. If people would come and just put comments in, I promise you that is what we love. So do that. It's fun.
It is fun. All right, y'all. Well, everybody enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the Dubski, and we will see y'all tomorrow morning.